All I want to know is where she buried the head of my father. They cut his head off. I want her to tell me. I don't want her to be set free. 70-year-old Gilberto Munoz Garcia's daughter demanded answers in the courtroom. The only one that could give her the answers that she's looking for is one of Mexico's most violent and lesser known serial killers in recent history. Uy, cucuy, welcome back to the Mexighost Tales. I am your host, Danny Chavez, and today we will feature our first true crime case from Mexico. So I think it's only fair to warn you, this case does involve murder, torture, and drugs, so viewer discretion is advised. We will have more ghost stories, urban legends, creepypastas, and conspiracy theories from Mexico. So I understand if true crime is not your gig, I get it. But if it is, please hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment. If you have any stories or cases that you want us to feature here, let me know in the comment section. You can also hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as the Mexighost. And I want to take a second to say thank you to the people that have recently joined our channel and that are posting their comments on our videos. That really helps us a lot, so I'm truly grateful. I'm really honored to have you guys in the comment section. And like I said, let me know if you want to know any type of conspiracy theories. I'll look that up for you. I'll do the reading so you don't have to. So let's dive into Flor Casarín González, also known as La Madrina. She was the leader of a band of thieves that operated in Ciudad Juárez. They committed housejacking, which happens when a group of individuals would break into their victim's home and while they were inside and would subdue them by handing down brutal beatings, drugging them and killing them after ransacking the homes. Casarín González was born in 1976 in Chihuahua. There's really no significant information or details regarding La Madrina. The only information available regarding any type of relatives or family members is her son Roberto Rodriguez Casarín, and he was also an accomplice of Flor's misdeeds. But we will get into that a little bit later in this episode. There was a series of housejackings taking place in Ciudad Juárez at the time. The authorities couldn't see any advances in their investigation. La Madrina's modus operandi was simple, and basically that was the reason why it was really hard to get closer to solving these cases. Flor Casarín would gain her victims' trust and would foster a friendship with them, and then she would attack. She used different names. Sometimes she would use the names of her own victims, and she would do this to get different types of credit, and she could buy stuff, and obviously she would ask to borrow money as well, and she would never pay it back. So that was kind of like when, her victims were starting to get suspicious, that's when she would attack. She would not just pick random people. La Madrina was so meticulous in selecting her victims that they would have to fit a certain profile. They would either be small business owners or elderly people that were already retired and receiving a pension, and these would pose a lesser threat to her and her gang of thieves. Once Flor Casarín and her group emptied out the houses, they would either take the stolen goods to a pawn shop to sell them, or they would actually sell them on Facebook Marketplace. In order to commit the housejackings, Flor would drug her victims with clonazepam, or also known as clonopin. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering the name, but the main thing here, it was a tranquilizer. And then she would stab or strangle her victims. Her killing spree was so horrendous that eventually the authorities would catch up to her. Gilberto Munoz Garcia was 74 years old when he was murdered. He was actually murdered on December 22nd of 2015. Local news outlets were reporting from inside the courtroom and how Gilberto's daughter described that the last time her father was seen alive was in the company of La Madrina, who introduced herself to Gilberto as Adriana or Ariadna Fonseca Telles. She started seducing the man till she gained his trust and got an invitation to his home. La Madrina and three other suspects were later seen at Gilberto's home, getting all the furniture and everything they could out of the house. The daughter claimed that she heard versions that Flor and her crew had to make 2 trips to get everything out of the house. According to Gilberto's daughter, she actually met La Madrina and had some words with her. She said, "I asked her, 'What are you looking for with my father? You are too young with him.' She mentioned that Flor was 40 years at the time and was having a romance with someone 30 years her elder. Earlier, when the murder took place that same day, another one of Gilberto's daughter talked to him and told him, 'Open your eyes, Dad. Look who you're getting involved with. I don't care if you want to get married with another person, but make sure that she loves you and treats you right. A woman that really wants to be with you.' Gilberto's answer was, 'I'm leaving,' and he took off. And his daughter was called to identify the decapitated body of her father 3 days later, on Christmas Day that same year. Although Gilberto's daughter's testimony was heard in court, Flor has yet to be convicted for this crime. She was arrested for the murder of then 49-year-old Carlota Munoz Duran. Carlota was a seamstress in Juarez, and she had a little shop, and La Madrina befriended her. On July 11, 2016, Carlota was at her home. Flor went to visit, and after having a conversation, Flor invited Carlota back to her house for lunch. Once in Flor's house, Carlota slipped her clonazepam. Flor Casarín González stabbed Carlota 91 times in the chest area. Carlota's cause of death was determined as hypovolemic shock due to the injuries caused by La Madrina. Afterwards, they emptied out her house and took her car. Flor and her henchmen sold the vehicle at a store parking lot for 8,000 pesos, which it's the equivalent of a little bit more than $400 US. That proved to be the beginning of the end for La Madrina. The person who bought the car from her, in turn, sold the car to someone else. And this person found in the glove compartment some phone numbers, documents, and Carlota's driver's license with her address. The individual went to Carlota's home to make sure that the purchase was legit. Carlota's significant other told the buyer that Carlota had disappeared. Her body was found on July 14, 2016. This is what led the investigation to Flor Casarín, who was arrested. Her son, Roberto Rodríguez Casarín, aka El Acro or El Tocino, bacon. I don't know how to translate El Acro. I guess it was probably the acrobat. I don't know. But he was also linked to the murder in August of 2018. But due to the lack of evidence, he was not charged. La Madrina's reign of terror would be in full display when one of her gang members turned state witness. The now protected individual led the police through one of Flor Casarin's more heinous murders, the murder of local store owner Griselda Mojarro Delgado. Again, the victim was drugged. Flor then proceeded to contact the witness, who stated that she told them that she had a job for him. Once he showed up to the address, Roberto came down the stairs carrying an unconscious Griselda. He dropped her and ordered him to help him get her into the car. La Madrina then came running down the stairs. and struck Griselda with a hammer on the side of the head. Griselda came back too due to the blow, and Flor Casarin then struck her again in the face, knocking her once again unconscious. Once in Griselda's car, they drove to a vacant lot. They got her out of the car, and La Madrina jumped on top of her and started stabbing her in the neck and chest. According to the witness testimony, she let out a sinister laugh while she was stabbing Griselda. They put her Chrysler Supreme for sale on Facebook. This was enough for the judge to sentence Flor Casarin Gonzalez for 21 years for the murder of Carlota and 23 for the murder of Griselda, totaling a sentence of 44 years in prison. Flor is currently 46 years old. His son was later found guilty and sentenced to 21 years for his participation in the murder of Griselda Mojarro Delgado. Authorities keep investigating Flor Casarin Gonzalez's crimes. Investigators suspect that her and her son are involved in at least 20 to 25 murders. They are also being investigated for theft and home invasion as well. More charges are still pending for this mother and son deadly duo. And with that, we come to the conclusion of this episode of the Mexighost Tales. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment. Also, again, the invitation is open for you to send me suggestions. You can also, again, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as the Mexighost. And we'll see you in the next one, where we will go and visit another part of Mexico's other history.
Y celebraremos una gran fiesta mexicana juntos.
¿De qué fiesta hablas?
Noviembre 2.
¿Y qué celebran?
A los muertos.